Am I wrong for not letting my sister have custody of her bio kids, who I adopted? When my sister, Annie, was 18 and I was 21, she got pregnant and had a daughter, Sophie. She developed what we believe was postpartum depression, but was never diagnosed as she refused therapy. When Anna's school started up again, our mother took on all childcare of Sophie. As mum took on more childcare, Annie seemed more like her old self, happy, outgoing, generally mentally healthy. Then within 6 months of Sophie's birth, Annie got pregnant again with another girl, Laura, and the cycle of postpartum depression, PPD, symptoms, mum taking over, and Anna's mood improving repeated. When Laura was 2 and Sophie was 3, Annie decided to move out of our parents' home, alone, and said she wanted our parents to adopt/raise her daughters. They said no. Annie said she couldn't take care of the girls as she had her own life, and being a parent made her miserable. My husband and I already had 4 kids of our own. We'd bonded with the girls, and we had the resources for 2 more, so we offered to take them in, and Annie let us legally adopt them, before moving out 8 hours away. It's been about 5 years, and the kids are doing well. It was a rough start, but we are now a stable, loving, healthy family unit. Sophie and Laura are 7 and 8, and Annie has recently lost her job and had to move back in with our parents. Annie has now asked for custody of Sophie and Laura. I'm writing custody like that because it wouldn't be custody in the legal sense, as she willingly surrendered all legal rights to the girls and can't get them back. We checked with a lawyer. However, Annie wants the girls to live with her. Initially she said she wanted them full-time and to legally adopt them back from us, which we obviously refused. Then she offered a compromise of alternate weeks, so 50/50 custody. Again, we refused. Given her insistence, we don't even want her around Sophie and Laura, so we've not been going by my parents' house as we typically do. It's been a month of constant badgering, insisting we let Annie bond with her daughters, and allow her to at the very least take them for overnight visits, saying that Annie had PPD 5 years ago, and now she's ready to be a parent. I've responded that we are not babysitters, we are Sophie and Laura's parents. They're in a good place and this will be detrimental to all 6 kids, and Annie doesn't get to step in now, when she never stepped up in the first place. The response from my parents and Annie is that I'm being unsympathetic to her PPD, and I should let her at least have a chance, rather than deem her unfit without giving her a chance to prove herself. Plus, given that we already have 4 kids other than them, Sophie and Laura could probably do with a smaller household, and saying we are being unreasonable for not allowing Annie to bond with her kids. Am I wrong for kicking my girlfriend out for yelling at my dog? Alright, this sounds bad, but bear with me. My girlfriend's conservative culture views dogs as filthy animals that should stay outside and not be inside with people. I had a dog as a kid and always wanted one as an adult, but could never keep one since I never had my own place. I finally saved up and got my own apartment, so I was excited to adopt a dog from the shelter in my city. I would talk about it a lot, and my girlfriend didn't seem enthusiastic about it. I made sure she knew about it and told her I was going to adopt one, and she said fine, you can do what you want, but if you do I might not come over as much. Well, it took a while to find the right dog and she basically started living at my place in the meantime. I finally found my puppy and everything seemed great, until she started hating my dog. She stopped working and didn't help with rent and started gaining weight. She didn't like keeping the dog company in the apartment since she's a playful puppy and wants to play a lot. I take her for runs and play fetch with her when I get home, but a lot of the time my girlfriend wouldn't even have taken her to pee during the whole day I'm working. She would get so mad when the dog came up to her, it broke my heart. The last straw was when she yelled at my dog loudly to get away from her when I let my dog out of the kennel when I got home. Since she was in there all day she was excited, so jumped on her. She screamed and scared my dog, who whimpered away. I told her I couldn't be with someone who hated animals and told her to leave. She said she couldn't believe I'm choosing a dog over her. I stood there until she left. Was I right to kick her out? Am I wrong for not defending my little brother against his bullies? My brother Darren is getting bullied online according to his and my parents' words. I mean, in my opinion, which might be kinda bad, but I think he deserves it. Basically, he slid into a girl's direct message, got rejected, and unleashed a ton of disgusting inappropriate insults on her. The girl made a post on Insta about it that got shared around the kids at our school, and then a bunch of other people commented about how he had done similar things to them. It was honestly disturbing to read, and while I knew my brother was kinda off, I didn't think he was this bad. I read that he called a black girl an ugly N-word once when they got into an argument about politics, and a lot of other people had awful experiences with him as well. Her post currently has over 1,000 likes, so a lot of people have seen it. My brother is currently suspended, and the school is deciding on what they should do moving forward. However, my parents are furious with me for not sticking up for him or defending him. They have punished him, but they are currently in the mitigatory period in order to try to protect his future. It's true that it's getting pretty bad. He gets hateful DMs every day, and there's even a Darren Hatter page on Instagram with dozens of followers. A lot of his friends have cut ties with him, and he's constantly crying or angry. He's scared for his future and his mental health has taken a toll. I've gotten backlash too for being his sister, and I've had to explain to numerous people in my DMs that I don't condone his behavior. I think it's absolutely disgusting, etc. My parents and Darren expect me to make some sort of statement of solidarity for him, or at least tell people to move on. But I don't want to. For one, that'd get people mad at me, but two, I honestly think he deserves all of this for what he did. I told him that I think his future college/career prospects are probably wrecked, but there was no one to blame but himself. That sent him into another spiral of wailing and rage, and my parents are incredibly angry that I won't support him because he can change, and ultimately he's my brother and I need to be on his side when the whole world is against him. Edit. To answer a common question, he has given a public apology, but it felt really insincere to me, since he only said it after the girl's post started getting traction. When she first posted it, he direct messaged her with threats and insults to take it down, so. Also, I didn't say his future prospects were gone as in he couldn't grow and not be inappropriate, just that in a practical sense, he wasn't going to be getting into a really good college/become a politician like he wanted. Am I wrong for giving my old, slightly damaged MacBook to my cat and not my sister? Okay, so I know this sounds a little ridiculous, so bear with me. Just last week I purchased a new MacBook for myself. My old one lasted me 5 years and is still technically working, but due to some water damage the speakers are completely ducked, the screen flickers quite a bit when not charging, and overall it's just slow. I have no use for it anymore. Regarding my cat, so I live in a fairly small apartment, and although it has windows there really isn't much to see besides a few trees and the parking lot really. I got my cat a few months ago and have a cat tree by the window, shelves and spaces, so she can climb up high, and quite a few toys I play with. At first, my cat had no problem hanging by the window, but eventually I noticed she started to get bored, and while I'm in the middle of working she would constantly meow or do mischievous things. I put on cat TV a few times for her and noticed she really enjoyed it and would stare at it for hours. However, I would put this on my new TV as this was really the only free screen I had. She would at times pounce at the TV, once almost knocking it back. After I got my brand new laptop I figured I'll barely get anything for selling my old one. I might as well use it for my cat. It's worked great. I put on cat TV on YouTube and have the back of the laptop screen against the wall beside me, So while I'm working she just sits there looking at the screen, occasionally pawing at it and then falling asleep. Of course I still play with her and give her plenty of pets, but I've found this is a great way to keep her mentally stimulated. This also prevents any concern of her damaging my electronics or hurting herself. I took a photo of her sitting and looking at the laptop because it looked like she was hard at work and thought it was funny and sent it to my family. My brother and mom laughed, but my sister messaged me. Sister S. Hey, you gave your MacBook to the cat? Me, yes, mine was pretty banged up and I needed a new one and this keeps her occupied. S. Okay, well if you're no longer using it, can I have it? Well there really is no point considering there are so many issues with it. It's not like the cat owns it. I just use it for her to keep her occupied when I feel like she needs to see more than just the parking lot. S. So you're gonna keep it for your cat rather than give it to me who needs it for school? MacBooks aren't cheap. I'm aware they aren't cheap, but there are other companies. This basically went on for a bit until she said I was being an inconsiderate butthole. If the MacBook was in better condition I would totally give it to her, but fixing the screen and speakers and replacing the battery will cost about the same or more as a mid-range Windows laptop. My mom and brother just kinda laughed at it and said not to worry, but my sister is being pretty cold with me. Am I wrong? Am I wrong for telling my parents to duck off and stop calling my girlfriend my sister? I 18 male have been dating my girlfriend 17 female for 3 years now. My mom and her dad got married and we live together. We were dating before our parents were, yet our parents have told us it's inappropriate for step siblings to date. We can't show any affection in public or our parents ground us. We can't be in our rooms alone or ever be home alone. It's so ducking infuriating. My parents also make it worse by saying things like take this over to your sister or how are you and your sister feeling. I got so sick of this. I hugged my girlfriend and my mom broke it up and said there was too much touching and I just lost my crap and yelled duck you. I'm so sick of your crap. She's my girlfriend much longer than you've married Sam. I will continue to date Jessica whether or not you approve. You can't decide what I do duck you. And I left the house, pulling Jessica out with me. She said I was unnecessarily rude to my mom. I could see my mom crying through the window. We came back several hours later and my mom and Sam were there to give us a talk. They had a discussion and told us about how we need to stop being entitled and accept the fact we are siblings now and we have to behave appropriately. I told them they could go duck themselves and left. Jessica followed me into my room. I locked the door and ignored them as they knocked on the door and were telling me to come out. They gave up after a bit. Ducking hell, I want to move out. Edit. Thank you everyone for the support. To answer some questions, yes, we are planning on moving out as soon as possible. We are considering going to RedditReadIt to volunteer and enlist, as mentioned in another post. If you want to help look at my other posts, or do some other volunteer work as they really need it, especially in Karabakh or maybe somewhere else. She turns 18 in a few weeks. We definitely do not want to stay here any longer. Also, my parents are planning on having another child. No matter what, my parents are not willing to compromise on our relationship. And no, there is no chance Jessica is related to me. Am I wrong for locking my husband out of our bedroom after our wedding reception? The title sounds bad, but hear me out. We were high school sweethearts and met young. We dated for 6 years before getting married, and it was clear that he's always been extremely close with his mother. She's always been trying to convince him that we shouldn't be together. Even when we were teens, she was trying to break us up. When we first announced our engagement, she freaked out. She told him, "You won't have a future with her. You're too young. You don't know what you're doing." She even told him he can do better than me. So the wedding reception came, and it was a small family affair at my older sister's house. since she has the yard space for our families to come. She never even came by to help us set up. It was mostly just my family and me. The entire reception was more like a party. It wasn't a traditional walk down the aisle wedding, but our most important family and friends were in attendance. The entire night, my soon-to-be husband sat at a table with his mom. I let it go, because I didn't want to have a fight at our wedding. We still did traditional things like sharing vows, taking pictures, cutting the cake, etc. But besides those moments, it was like I barely saw him. When it came to cut the cake, he took the first slice over to his mother. I was upset, because the first slice should go to the people actually getting married, but again, I let it slide. I spent my wedding at a table with my best friend and my young brother-in-law. The night after the reception we got into it, because he didn't help once with the wedding, and for all the reasons above. And just when we were getting home, he tosses the cake in the fridge without covering it or anything. Here's where I may be in butthole, because I started asking him to wrap the cake, and we got into a huge fight about if it was fine or not. I felt just done with the whole day, went into our room, and locked the door. I was so mad I eventually ended up falling asleep, and he slept on the couch on our wedding night. I didn't mean to fall asleep, I just wanted some space for a bit. We've been fighting on and off since, and his mother has called me a bridezilla more than once. So I'm starting to doubt myself. Am I the butthole here for not allowing my new husband into our bedroom on our wedding night? Am I wrong for asking my dad to drive me home in the middle of my engagement dinner? I, female 26, just got engaged to my fiancé, male 32, who's the only son my future mother-in-law has, and she is incredibly involved in his adult life. At first that didn't bother me, as I see it as a good thing that he has a good relationship with his mom, but it started getting worse with her constantly getting involved in my personal life as well. His family decided to have a small celebration for our engagement and they invited my family for dinner. I wasn't so comfortable with having a celebration cause I felt that my fiancé and I should decided whether we wanted or not. Anyways, I had my mom, dad, brother attend. We met some of his family members there as well. Things were going fine till my mother-in-law talked about wedding/honeymoon and stuff like that. My fiancé was talking and I just sat there listening. She then started talking about future grandkids, and this is when I got uncomfortable. I'm living child-free and planning on living child-free all my life, and I think that it's mostly because of experiencing a traumatic death of my younger sibling, my sister, who was sick, and I was the closest one to her. She was young, and during her sickness I felt like I was being a mother to her. My parents knew how much her and I were connected, and her death was so devastating. I will never know what it feels like to lose a child, but losing her felt like a piece of me was gone. I don't want kids thinking they'd be gone one day and I'll have to deal with this awful pain for the rest of my life, like how I'm dealing with my sister's death. I already discussed this with my fiancé, but instead of telling her to drop it, he just let her go on. My parents noticed her behavior. My dad told her that I wasn't planning on being a mom, but she just laughed it off and said that I'll change my mind, then started making a toast. She made a toast saying to my future grandchildren. I got sick of it. I quietly told my fiancé that I wanted to leave, but he told me to wait. I turned to my dad and asked him if he could drive me home, and my family all got ready to leave. My mother-in-law tried to pressure us into staying, but we left eventually. In about 30 minutes after her guests left, I got a call from my fiancé telling me his mom wants to talk. He gave her his phone and she blew up on me for walking out and embarrassing her in front of her guests, and brought up the kids topic and said that she gets a say in that. She berated me for 5 minutes, then hung up on me. My fiancé called, but I ignored him. I went home with my family feeling awful. The whole situation sucks, and I cried feeling hurt by them and their lack of consideration and them just steamrolling my decisions as a person like that. Did you like this video? If so, consider subscribing to RedditReadIt. We upload new videos and updates every day.